I need Summer to stop.
Summer, can you please take out the slides?
Okay, here. Now it's working. Okay, there we go.
Awesome. Okay. Let's get some activity going in the chat if you can hear me. All right. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Good to see everybody in here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. See some familiar names in there. Good stuff. Right on. All right. Welcome. And again, thanks for joining this DTCX webinar entitled Human versus AI, Striking the Right Balance in Customer Service. Hope everyone's excited to learn a few things ahead of what's likely a short week for most of us North Americans, at least. Shout out to all my Canadians in the chat. My name's Joe. I'm a platform partner manager here at Gorgeous, and I'll be your host today. I've been with Gorgeous for about a year now, after spending 3 years at Shopify, working with merchants like yourselves at all stages of their growth journey. One of the best parts about working in this space over the last 4 or so years is really working with the great partners who are all focused on making your lives easier. And we have several, or I guess maybe more than several of those partners with us here today, both technology providers, service experts, and they'll be sharing their take on how to strike the balance we're all dealing with today, humans versus AI. And so as we go through the session, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We'll answer as many as we can live, and then obviously also asynchronously in the chat too. We'll follow up afterwards if we don't get to them. Before we get started, just a quick mention, DTCX, for those maybe who are joining us for the first time, it's actually a Gorgeous event series where we bring together experts from across the Shopify ecosystem, the e-commerce ecosystem in general, including merchants, tech providers, and agencies to do exactly this, share knowledge and best practices. We host both in person and online, just like this. And so if you're looking to stay ahead in ecom, keep an eye out for what's coming next, just by reaching out to myself or doing a quick search online. With that said, we are going to have a number of great speakers today. Like I said, please ask questions, give feedback, engage with the speakers and each other. And if you're on social media, feel free to tag us using the hashtag DTCX so that we can get some visibility going and then engage with your content. Right on. So as you've seen in the communications about the event today, we've got an impressive lineup of very successful folks in the industry who I'm excited to hear from. And then there's me. And like we have throughout these DTCX webinar series, we have some really cool special giveaways. So like we mentioned earlier, be active, try to engage with us, the speakers, and each other. And then, as we go out or as we go through the presentations, we'll be going through the chat to see who's, doing exactly that, staying engaged, asking questions. And then we're actually going to select someone from the chat to receive one of these prizes, which you will receive after the webinar is concluded. So with that lengthy intro out of the way, let's kick things off with yours truly. All right. So let's talk about the balance of human versus AI. Um, you know, like I said, it's the balance of humans versus AI, and those are both, or AI at least is the buzzword right now. Um, if you're running a DTC brand, you've probably felt this. Customer expectations are higher than ever, but your resources might not be growing at the same rate. And so, most of us need some guidance and some help on how to tackle one of that challenge in particular. And that's where AI really comes in. Here's the thing: AI scales, and so it gets you there faster, but it doesn't scale necessarily emotion. And for brands in our space, that emotional connection, that sense of this brand gets me, is really everything. So, how do you scale without losing the soul of your customer experience? Let's walk through what we've seen actually work. Here's the first principle: let AI do what it's great at. Think about, Wismo tickets. Where is my order? Returns, frequently asked questions. All these repetitive rule-based tickets, these make up a bulk of your ticket volume, or very likely do, and they're honestly a terrible use of team humans' energy, in my opinion. When we see brands automate these, they deflect 40 to 70% of total ticket volume. Not only do they get faster response times, but they reduce burnout. And let me be clear here: reducing burnout, not headcount. Because AI doesn't replace your team, it protects your team from being buried under that work that doesn't require the emotional intelligence or the EI, or nuanced judgment. And so, it's your frontline filter, really. You're not your whole army. Now let's flip that script. What can't AI do? It can't send the heartfelt apology when someone's anniversary gift doesn't arrive in time. It can't navigate the tension of a $400 order that got lost in transit, and it can't rebuild trust in those moments. And this is where Team Human shines. So these are the high stake moments, the ones where empathy drives loyalty. When you respond as a person who actually cares, that's really where this long-term trust is built. And if you want to prioritize customer lifetime value, these emotional touch points matter, and more than your NPS score or your resolution time. This one might be the most underrated part of the whole conversation, and that's the handoff. We've all had those moments as customers. You explain everything to a chatbot, and you finally get to a human, and then they're like, "All right, what can I do for you?" And I swear that alone is enough to make some people churn, or at least me myself. AI should never restart the conversation. It should set the human up. No friction, no repeat questions, just context, clean and ready. And here's a big one: transparency. It's okay to let your customers know when they're chatting with an AI. In fact, it's more than okay. It actually builds that trust. And with privacy laws tightening up globally, and it's becoming a necessity anyway. So we always recommend transparency about AI. Now let's make it practical. This is the framework we use here at Gorgeous with our customers: tier one, tier two, and tier three. One being fully automated, order status, shipping address updates, things like that. Two, this stage or this tier is where the AI may draft the response, and then your human agent will review it and approve it. It's great for stuff like partial refunds or policy exceptions. And then tier three, all human. AI may support with data. Uh, these situations might come up, think of like a high AOV customer or those complex issues. It's simple, but it works. And because not every ticket needs a human, but every customer deserves the right kind of experience. Now, let me bring this all, or let me try to bring it all together with a real life example. Last Black Friday, one of our brands actually set up AI to handle the bulk of their "Where is my order" tickets and return tickets. And that alone actually deflected 60% of their volume. And so what does that mean? Their agents spent the weekend doing upsells, uh, saving cancellation requests, and actually building those relationships. It wasn't just reactive support, it was the proactive customer experience that we're all really hoping to aim for. And that's what balance looks like in action, in our opinion. So here's the cheat sheet. Automate the predictable, humanize the pivotal, and actually design the handoff. Don't just plug it into tools. And be honest about where AI fits into your workflows. This isn't about choosing human or AI. It's about getting the best from both. And that, my friends, concludes my formal section of today's webinar. You'll be hearing more from me, but I'd now like to bring up Mia from Triple Whale onto the stage here to share some more tips about the topic.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Joe. Hello, everyone. My name is Mia Healy. I'm the Director of Tech Partnerships here at Triple Whale. I'm going to pull up my screen and we'll dive right
Awesome.
in.
Welcome, Mia. And while you do that and get yourself set up, I just wanted to make mention that we do actually have our first winner of the afternoon or of the session, and that is Sarah Cook. You have won some AirPod Pros.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Awesome. Good stuff, Mia.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so diving right in, everyone. Like I said, my name is Mia Healy. I'm the Director of Tech Partnerships here at Triple Whale, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. We are going to be talking about one of the biggest game changers in e-commerce, AI. The conversation has been massive. That's why we're all here today, specifically how AI takes the guesswork out of growth. So let's dive in and break it all down. So here's what we're going to be covering today. First off, who even is Triple Whale so that you can understand the angle that I'm taking with today's presentation. Next, we're going to talk about why data-driven decisions matter. Then we're going to dive into AI's growing role in e-commerce. And finally, we've got a free tool for you today to use, an exclusive offer for all of our attendees today. So let's jump right in. So, starting with who even is Triple Whale, e commerce brands today are drowning in data but starving for insights. And that's really where Triple Whale comes in. Triple Whale is the e commerce intelligence platform built for faster, more confident decisions. Most analytics platforms are going to be telling you what's happening, whereas Triple Whale helps you understand why, and more importantly, what to do next. So, that's the biggest difference between insights and actual intelligence. At Triple Whale, we're really not just another data tool. We are your go to e commerce intelligence platform for your brands who are scaling fast and need clarity in their decision making. So, we're the proud source of truth for over 40,000 innovative brands, including some well known names like Calpac, MeUndies, Peloton, Culture Kings, just to name a few. But we're not just working with brands, we're powering an entire ecosystem of e commerce growth. We have over 2,000 trusted agency partners and 65 plus deep tech integrations, Gorgeous being one of them, and many of the other solutions on today. So we ensure our customers get the most out of their data, from marketing to inventory to profitability. And if you're wondering what that looks like, we have tons of resources, tons of case studies, all that good stuff. So let's get into the good stuff now, why we're all here today. So here's the thing, e-commerce isn't just growing, it is becoming so much more competitive, so much more expensive, and so much more complex than ever before, which I'm sure we're all feeling. So for brands today, making data-driven decisions isn't optional, it truly is survival. And when we look at the numbers, the challenge is really obvious, right? Ad costs are continuing to rise, which I'm sure we're all experiencing. Paid acquisition is getting more expensive every single year, so that's squeezing your profit margins and making profitability even harder to achieve. And competition is at an all-time high. More brands are fighting for the same customers. So again, this is making it even harder to stand out. So in this environment, the guesswork just really won't cut it, right? As brands, we need to be clear. We need to have actionable insights so that we can optimize marketing, pricing, operations. And that's really where AI-powered analytics come in, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So this is where the growing role of AI in e-commerce comes in, because AI is no longer just a buzzword. It really is transforming the way that brands operate, from automating your marketing tasks to optimizing your inventory management. AI is empowering businesses to make smarter decisions faster. It's helping brands scale by unlocking insights from data, predicting trends, streamlining operations, all of which lead to way more efficient and profitable growth. So let's take a look in how your brand can harness some AI power. So, the e commerce brands that are adopting AI are seeing real, true, measurable results. There is no surprise why. McKinsey reports that e commerce businesses using AI can boost profitability up to 25%. And it's not just about speed, right? It's about smarter decision making. AI analyzes massive amounts of data, providing insights that help brands optimize your operations, predicting your trends, etc. So, in an industry where margins are really tight and competition is fierce, like we just looked at before, even just small efficiency gains can be a huge game changer. And the right AI tools can make a really big difference between profitability or falling behind. So AI is fundamentally changing the way we work. I'm sure all of us have kind of like experimented with a little bit of AI, but today we're going to be talking about different ways that you can truly make an impact in your business's day to day. So there's three main pillars that I'm going to be covering today. First, looking at customer experience. As we just heard from Joe before, AI is stepping in to handle many of these manual, time-consuming tasks so that brands can focus on strategy instead of spreadsheets. Next, to keep up, businesses have turned to personalization. Personalization has been a huge talking point for the last several years because of how important it is for a positive customer experience. And now we're seeing brands leverage AI to deliver even more tailored shopping experiences, whether that's through product recommendations, targeted marketing, or dynamic pricing. Personalization isn't just a trend. I think we can all agree about that now. It is definitely a necessity for engagement and retention. But here's the key: personalization and your customer experience is only as good as the data intelligence behind it. AI will allow your brand to collect, analyze, and act on massive amounts of data in real time. So, the more data that AI has, the smarter it gets, which is enabling your brand to refine your strategy, predict your customers' needs, and optimize your performance across the board. And that's why AI really isn't just like an add on, it's truly a game changer. So, now we're going to dig into each of these core pillars and see how they're driving real growth throughout these pillars. So, starting with customer experience, obviously, we heard from Gorgeous and how they are an absolute game changer with their AI offerings. AI is making customer experience more efficient, responsive, and scalable. Because if you have AI agents or chatbots providing instant answers, that's cutting wait times and support costs. AI can also predict issues like delayed shipments and offer solutions before customers are even asking for it. And then plus, it provides a frictionless shopping experience. So, smarter search, voice commerce, and virtual try ons are making shopping easier than ever before. And so, your result there is now you have happy customers. Now you have fewer support tickets and you have higher conversions as well. So, AI isn't just improving customer experience, it's transforming the entire customer experience as a whole. And here I have an example from Tushy, who is a shared customer between Triple Well and Gorgeous. One of the biggest hurdles for shoppers is compatibility with Tushy, right? Will the bidet fit on their toilet? Which certain product do they need? How do they set it up? Those kind of things. So Gorgeous's AI removes all of that friction with real-time compatibility guidance. So it's helping customers make instant decisions. And of course, personalizing the shopping experience, recommending different upgrades, different bundles, and accessories while streamlining support. And so the impact is clear and it's been massive. They've seen a 13x ROI, two times more conversions from AI versus human agents, and 15 plus chat conversion rate. So AI isn't just supporting anymore, it's selling, it's scaling, and it's optimizing every single interaction for growth. Now, our next pillar that we had before, we have AI driven personalization. And here we have the reason why AI driven personalization is so important is because you're boosting engagement and conversations and smart recommendations showing the right products at the right time, AI driven emails and SMS to reach customers when they're most likely to buy based on purchasing behaviors and habits, and personalized discounts to tailor pricing based on behavior. So again, this all goes into creating a better experience and of course, more sales, which is what we're all trying to go for. Smart bundling isn't just about increasing AOV, it's about creating a better shopping experience, which in turn is going to, of course, drive more conversions. It's going to drive higher purchases. Rebuy is a great example of a tool that can help accomplish that for brands. So for Al Vodka, Rebuy drove a 21% AOV boost by smart upsells to help increase order value, AI driven shopping for seamless experiences, and an optimized checkout to reduce friction. So, again, it's just making the shopping experience as easy as possible. The easier you can make it for people to buy and purchase from your brand, the more likely you are going to grow and scale. And AI personalization is making that possible. The proof is right there. And now going into the intelligence. So here at Triple Whale, we built Moby to make data-driven decisions fast and easy. So some of y'all may have heard of Moby agents or Moby chat. Moby agents are the first AI agents purpose-built to boost your brand's customer acquisition, your conversion, your retention, and business operations. These agents are working around the clock to uncover what's working, what's not working, and what to do next. Moby Chat is your AI data scientist to help answer any question, create reports, build forecasts, and so much more. So instead of digging through all of your different reports and spending hours upon hours every single week trying to build analyses, you can just simply ask Moby, what was my ROAS last week? How did my Black Friday campaigns perform? How should I pivot my Black Friday campaigns this year based on last year's performance? What is my highest converting product and how can I sell more? Instant answers so that you no longer have to do dashboard diving and scrolling through a whole bunch of different spreadsheets, and actionable insights where Moby turns your data into decisions in seconds. So with Moby, you don't have to just track data, you use it to actually grow. And instead of spending 10 minutes searching for an answer, Moby will tell you in seconds. So you can move faster and again, make those better decisions. So as our co-founder AJ says, and AI is really evolving from a tool to a true business co-pilot, really helping brands analyze more data than ever before for deeper, smarter decisions. These aren't just generic bots, they're purpose built to drive growth across acquisition, retention, operations. So again, you are saving so much more time. You are creating fast, useful, and context-aware decisions. This is the AI that actually understands your business. And here we have an example from Dixon. Dixon's lean marketing team spent hours upon hours each week analyzing ad performance with very limited customer insights and inaccurate attribution data until Triple Whale and Moby agents fully automated that process for them. So now what took hours happens in just a few minutes, saving 260 plus hours per year. Dixon also 3x'd their ROI within just 3 months of implementing Triple Whale and added over $500,000 of incremental revenue using our Sonar Send feature. So AI isn't just saving time, it's really optimizing growth. So after today, I think we can all agree that AI is the future of e-commerce, and we're going to hear from so many amazing experts on the stage today about why this is the case. But here's some of our key takeaways as a refresher. AI is really driving growth, transforming the customer experience, personalization and data intelligence. Insights aren't enough. Brands need AI that turn that data into action fast. And automation is the future. Moby agents aren't just analyzing data, they're actually taking action to help you scale. And that's where the biggest wins are with AI. So the fastest moving brands will win. And before AI can drive action, you need a strong data foundation, which is why we're giving you access to our free dashboard to help you track metrics and make smarter decisions. I'm going to drop this link in the chat along with my email and LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions. But it has been an absolute pleasure sharing the stage with you all today. And I look forward to staying in touch.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mia. That was incredibly insightful, and it got the chat going. That's for sure. There are piles of questions that we're all going to work to answer for you all. That being said, we did have someone who was especially active and or as a result, has won the second prize of the day. Jennifer Yoder has won a Visa gift card courtesy of Triple Whale.
Yes,
Thank you.
congratulations. I'll get that sent your way.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. And now, to continue on here today, I'm going to be welcoming up David Noller. from our partners at Talent Pop. David is the AI Implementation Success Manager at Talent Pop. He leads the charge on AI projects that transform customer experiences and streamline operations. With over 3 years of experience in customer success and a deep passion for innovation, David has really become a trusted expert in this AI space. Good thing we have him here today. And when he's not working, you'll find him playing just about any instrument or traveling with his wife and daughter. David, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us. Excited to hear.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. And thank you, Mia. Excited to chat with you all today. Let me go ahead and bring this up. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us all today. As Joe mentioned, I'm David Noller, and I'm an AI Implementation Success Manager here at Talent Pop. I feel like this is such a great topic, and I'm so excited to chat with you all today. So with that being said, let's get started. So the big question is, if AI can handle 30 to 50% of your support volume, what should your agents be doing? Well, let's be honest, most of what bogs down support teams, it isn't very complex. It's things like, where's my order? How do I start a return, and can I change my subscription? And these are all important questions, but they're also repetitive, rule-based, and they don't require a lot of human creativity or, emotional intelligence. And AI is now good enough to handle 30 to 50% of that kind of volume and reliably. So the question becomes, if AI is taking care of the routine, where does that leave your agents? And that's where the human role starts to evolve from responder to relationship builder, from repetitive work to revenue work. And let me show you what this shift looks like side by side. So when working together, AI can do things like handle order updates, answer FAQ questions, manage some subscriptions, order tracking, and automate chat triage and responses. And while they're doing that, humans can do things like de-escalate emotional conversations, offer deep product knowledge, build loyalty through personalized interactions, manage those high-stake escalations, identify upsell and cross-sell opportunities, and then handle the complex conversations. So in essence, AI clears the road, but the agents, they drive the relationship forward. That's the future of CX, and it's already happening. So now that we've seen how AI and humans complement each other, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's look at why it's so critical. The way I picture customer support, it's kind of like a battlefield, right? So agents, CX teams, they're on the front lines. They are battling the customer support inquiries. Well, often those tasks, they're very repetitive. I feel like they can feel mundane. And while they're absolutely necessary, they may not be as fulfilling to the agents or strategic as they could be. We'll enter the AI agents. So if CX teams and agents are the soldiers on the front lines of the battlefield, well, AI agents, they are the armor. It helps handle those mundane tasks, reducing agent workload, and helping to speed up first response and resolution times. And what adding on an AI agent does, it upskills your team members to new roles. And this includes things like the relationship builders, the revenue generators, and the data detectives. So in short, AI empowers agents to be strategic, impactful, and more fulfilled in their roles. It's a partnership, not a replacement, as Joe mentioned, that's shaping the future of customer support. And we'll break down these evolving roles, starting with the most important one, which is building meaningful customer relationships. So AI is great at getting customers answers fast, but it can't offer that deeper understanding. And that's where the relationship builders come in. These are the agents who step into the moments that matter when a customer is frustrated, confused, or emotionally charged. They bring empathy, emotional intelligence, and the ability to read the room, things AI just isn't built to do. They personalize the interaction, use the brand's voice, and make sure the customer walks away feeling like they were actually heard and not just responded to. These human moments build long-term loyalty. They turn problems into, well, brand advocates. So while AI clears the road, relationship builders are the ones steering the emotional experience. So empathy, connection, it's powerful, but there's a layer we don't talk about enough. When your agents build trust, they also open doors. And that brings us to the next role in this evolution, the agent as the revenue generator. So AI doesn't just help your support teams move faster, it changes what your team gets to do. When AI takes over those tier one conversations like order status or return questions, especially in live chat, your agents finally have the bandwidth to step into those higher value conversations. And that's where the magic happens. Instead of racing to clear tickets, agents now have the time to read between the lines, ask smarter questions, and suggest relevant products right there in the conversation. So live chat, it becomes more than just a support channel. It becomes a revenue channel. And it's not just chat. The same thing applies to email. When automation handles routine replies, agents can focus on those complex cases, lifetime value, and brand loyalty. And that's how you move from solving problems to driving growth. But here's the thing, your agents aren't just influencing revenue in the moment, they're also uncovering the patterns behind the problems. That brings us to the next role, the data detective. So your agents, they're sitting on a gold mine of insight. They see which questions come up again and again, which edge cases keep slipping past your AI. And when you use a tool like Gorgias, you can take it even further. With the right setup, Gorgias can automatically tag things based on content triggers or AI responses. And agents can use things like ticket fields and conditional fields to categorize issues on the fly. And that helps to give you structured real-time data on what's breaking down and why. And as data detectives, agents do more than just resolve issues. They uncover trends. They identify friction points. And they turn that information into action, whether it's fixing a confusing policy or helping, marketing or product. That's how support becomes a strategic function. So now, what happens when your agents don't just work alongside AI, but they actually improve it? Well, that brings us to the next role. That's the AI QA specialist. So agents are the frontline reviewers of AI agent responses. They catch when the AI might be a bit off, whether it's the accuracy, tone, or even the context of a reply. Thanks to tools and Gorgias like the AI feedback tab, agents can directly suggest improvements to help fix these issues. But sometimes a fix goes beyond what an agent can do. And when that happens, they can escalate it to the person responsible for maintaining the AI. And this continuous feedback loop, it's crucial. It keeps the AI aligned with your brand voice, policies, and customer expectations. And it does ultimately build stronger trust and better experiences. And put simply, agents act as the human conscious for the AI. They make sure it stays helpful, accurate, and on brand. And with agents actively reviewing and improving AI responses, the next step is making sure the AI sounds like your brand. So that means dialing in the right tone of voice so every interaction feels authentic, consistent, and human. Well, let's talk about how to humanize your gorgeous AI agent through tone of voice. So you might be wondering with tone of voice, where do you even start? Well, I always like to say the best place is your About Us page because it naturally captures your company's personality, values, and voice. And you can use a generative AI tool to feed it your About Us content and ask it to help come up with this tone of voice. You can try prompts like, let's create a brand tone of voice. Here's our About Us page. And then you can provide that little example that Gorgias has in the custom tone of voice prompt. And once you have that, just give it clear guidance on what it should always say and what it should never mention. Those guardrails help keep it on brand. And make tweaks as needed and copy it into your Gorgias. This process helps your AI sound more human, relatable, and aligned with your brand. And that goes a long way in maintaining trust and connection. Another thing you can do, one simple but powerful way to humanize the AI is through its signature. Joe had mentioned this earlier about being transparent. I recommend giving your AI a friendly name paired with AI agent. That keeps things very transparent. Customers know they're talking to an AI, but it does feel also warm and approachable. And what we want to avoid are things like, this conversation was created by a bot, because that's a turnoff for sure for humans, and that can hurt trust. So by dialing in the tone of voice, crafting a thoughtful signature, we've actually seen brands boost their CSAT scores by as much as 1 full point. And it's a small tweak, but it makes a huge difference in how customers feel about their support experience. So as we wrap up, the key takeaway is this, AI is not here to replace your support team. It's here to empower them. By offloading routine tasks to your AI, agents gain the space to do the work that only humans can, which is building relationships, solving complex issues, and driving revenue. They evolve into architects of the customer experience, continuously improving AI and keeping it aligned with your brand values. And remember, small things like your tone of voice and your AI signature, it really matters, and it can even improve your CX scores. And the future of CX is a partnership between humans and AI. And those who embrace this will build more scalable, empathetic, and successful support teams. And with that being said, I want to thank you all for your time. It's great to hear from all these amazing speakers today. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about customer support or AI in general. And we are giving away this $75 Uber Eats gift card here as well. So thank you so much.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Yeah, that's why I mentioned Talent Pop was one of our favorite partners. David certainly has done this before, has worked with many groups, dipping their toes in, and really helped with that, paralysis by analysis feeling that many of us have. So David, thank you for sharing some of your insights, your experience, and I guess wisdom in a certain way. Good stuff. So we have, like he mentioned, another gift card to give away. That is going to be Brianna Walsman. Thank you for your contributions, questions, and comments. Keep them coming, everybody. Great. And so with that, we are going to move on to our next presenter here in the session today. We've got Joe Marston, co-founder of Soar with. Hey, Joe. Joe, other than having a great first name, is the owner and co-founder of four different leading marketing and creative agencies in the UK. He's the co-founder of Soar with Us, one of the UK's premier e-commerce growth agencies, and actually Triple Whale's Agency of the Year in 2024. He's the co-founder of several others, like I mentioned. Across his group of companies, Joe's teams have driven multi-9-figure online sales for ambitious e-commerce brands. Maybe some of you are his next ones. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Great intro. Great to have everyone here. And I'll get straight into it. Give me 1 second. Can we see my screen? Oops. Okay. I'll just check. Can we see my screen? Like the mustache comment. Someone give me a thumbs up if you can. Okay, I think we can. Cool. Perfect. So thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to showing you guys some serious value, some serious source. This is essentially the inner workings of my agency, of how we're using customer service data and AI agents specifically to find winning ad angles. And this process has essentially led to all of our best performing ads across the hundreds of brands that we work with. It's very fast moving, obviously, with how fast AI is developing, but this is something that I think is the future of creative strategy, marketing in general. And I'm also going to show you an easier, no code, no AI agent way to get similar results. So go through a quick agenda today. So firstly, I'll go through why you should listen to me. I think that always helps. And then I'll go through the current state of Meta ads. If you aren't aware, there's been some pretty massive changes over the past few months. I'll go through the biggest mistakes that I see brands make when they're trying to use AI and creative strategy. taking into account these changes. I'll go through how you can turn your customer support into a literal goldmine if you act on that. How you can use no-code AI workflows. You could do this within sort of 20, 30 minutes after this webinar if you really wanted to. How to then execute creative strategy at scale. Some examples, real results, and then an extra giveaway and a bonus at the end. So I'll skip through my intro because Joe did a really good one. Yeah, we've spent tens of millions on ads in the past 12 months, nearly 9 figures, worked with hundreds and hundreds of brands in supplement space, fashion, beauty, cosmetics, apparel, tons of brands here that you might have heard of. And we produce a ton of creative. So we have a full creative team where we do static, UGC, high production videos.
Who knew showering?
Every guy under 6
Why
feet
Forbes
needs
calls
shoes.
this
A discreet 2.5-inch shoe.
Did that work? Went super glitchy on my side, so let me skip through that. The videos weren't having it there, so we'll skip past the videos, but you'll get the deck after this to see some examples that we've produced. So Meta is changing yet again. There's constant changes. It's crazy pace is always hard to keep up with. If you haven't heard of Meta Andromeda, it's essentially, in the simplest form, without going too in depth. Just check I'm still presenting. Cool. It's the new AI version of the Meta algorithm. It's essentially, instead of being able to have full control over audiences in the past, Meta has essentially opened up the floodgates and is allowing the AI algorithm to basically look at every single data point from every single person's usage. And it means that the amount of data, I think I saw a crazy stat, Meta have invested in some 4 million square meter server warehouse recently, which is, someone compared it to 27 Costco's put side by side, just full of servers because of this update. And it's essentially meaning that more than ever, creative is the core component when it comes to getting results with paid ads on Meta. We have much less control over targeting, and Meta really don't want advertisers to essentially have much choice. Really, they want you to let the algorithm decide where to show your ads. And I've got some additional notes that I'll share after this, but Meta Andromeda itself could be something we speak about for hours. But essentially, using AI more effectively in algorithms for targeting. And what this means for advertisers is that instead of a deterministic way of a deterministic model based on sort of user intent, website, and audiences, it's moved to a more probabilistic model where machine learning is taken over. And I don't know if people saw, but Meta are aiming for having AI taking over the full process of paid ads within the next couple of years. So what it means is that Meta can now support 5,000 ads a week instead of 50. This soulmate theory, where essentially your creative should be a perfect match to each of your ideal customer profiles. And the creative is doing the targeting. The creative is the thing that essentially drives results for your paid campaigns. And it means that a lot more time and effort, a lot more iterations, a lot more variations, which is something that nobody wants to hear, but that is really where your focus needs to be. You need to have a ton of volume. You need to be testing a ton of different concepts. And yeah, it's something that a lot of brands are really struggling to understand how to actually keep up with. Most brands at this point is quite important at the bottom. A lot of brands have very distinctly different audience personas, and you need to make sure that each one of your creatives is hitting up, each one of those ideal customer profiles. So yeah, kind of said this, but performance now depends on strategic volume, speed, and iteration. And I'll go through how we're doing that at scale. And it's not just about kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, to put it politely. I think we had a change of word there. It's about doing this strategically and understanding how to use customer data, customer feedback, because it is a gold mine of potential ad angles to drive that creative strategy. So I'll run you through how we use AI to do this. Now, we've built out a pretty crazy AI agent using NAN, which, feel free to take a picture of this, almost you'll get it afterwards. But long story short, we're using review mining, customer feedback mining, Reddit. We're scraping all possible different sources of customer feedback that you could possibly get hold of, and alongside that, trying to incentivize our clients to get more and more customer feedback, because it essentially creates this strategy. We're using that to then partner with our usual processes of getting understanding of brands, USPs, brands, ingredients, product differentiation, whatever, and then feeding that all into an AI system that then develops a creative strategy off the back of it with multiple ideas of variations and that type of thing at scale. One really cool example is, if we're onboarding a client, let's say in the beauty space, we have a brand that helps with acne. We would ask them for sort of keywords that resonates with their product. We would then take that, and this is what this agent can do, and it will scrape that kind of keyword on Reddit, scrape Reddit, sorry, for that keyword, and we have filters in there, so it would only look at answers that have a certain amount of upvotes, a certain amount of views and comments, that type of thing, and see how people are using that pain point that our client has identified as their solution, and see how they're talking about that. What are they saying in terms of things that have worked, things that haven't worked, how much of a pain point is that? And then this process can actually spit out different creative briefs, creative concepts. We even have a version of this that actually produces static images in a certain theme based on what people on Reddit are saying about said brand or said pain point. So have a think about keywords that maybe resonate with what type of thing your product solves or pain points your customers have. So here's how you can do it without code or without NaN, because that's a whole learning experience in itself. So step one, like I said, pull customer service data, using Gorgeous, using any tool that you have where you can download CSVs of customer feedback, call transcripts, replies to emails, comments on ads is one of the best ones. Forums, like I mentioned. Try and extrapolate this as much as you can. You really need to focus on getting as much feedback as possible. Post-purchase surveys are a really good one as well. Once you've got that, we use this prompt initially and within the workflow. So please take a picture of this. This prompt should be able to get you some serious quantitative understanding of how your customer uses, reacts, interacts with your product, and then spit out some creative concepts from that. So when you're using the data, what you want to do is create a database of all the info that you've collected into the following categories here. So benefits, pain points, features, angles, and objections. You then want to create persona profiles, ICPs from this, demographics, psychographics, trigger events, awareness levels, and frequency. So really help you understand your key customer personas. And then you can identify strategic opportunities from this, building out a database similar to the one you see here, based on the responses from your research. Think sort of like high priority angles, frameworks, creative hooks that are likely to tap into emotional triggers that are uncovered during your AI assisted sort of research process. And this is essentially where like service meets experience through AI social listening and review mining that I've just shown you there. Your customer service channels become a link directly to your creative output and directly to revenue source and essentially the lifeblood of growing your business. Once you've found a winner through this, and I can't stress enough like how much you need to test variables, how much you need to iterate based on the data, but once you have found a winner, don't try and reinvent the wheel too much. This is a client of ours, a skincare brand that I actually referenced earlier. We use the same type of concept, which was founder story style ad. We originally was a pretty high production, you can see here, sit down interview with the founder. We then used that to allow and help the founder create a more natural, raw UGC style ad on the left, and then a static style ad on the right. And all of these ads absolutely crushed, but it was from an original, one winning ad concept that we'd found there. So yeah, you can use AI obviously in this process as well to come up with content ideas. But yeah, just to wrap things up, we do have a really good podcast and recently interviewed Sarah Levenger that really sort of dig deep into the psychology and the frameworks you can use within your sort of N8N flow or within your prompt. So please go and give that a watch for some extra value. I think that your QR code takes you straight to it. And then if you want our sort of proven creatives real time, we've got a bank of actual winning creatives that work right now across the brands you work with. Get in touch and you can get a free audit worth £3,000. If you scan this, you should get taken to a type form to apply. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks very much for having me. And any questions, let me know.
Good stuff. Thanks, Joe. That's incredibly insightful. I definitely learned a few things of my own about how the ad space works, and evidently how it's constantly changing. So it's great to have some expert advice in that realm of the world. All right. So we've got another winner on our hands here. Congratulations to Fiona McClune. You've won an Amazon gift card. Congratulations, Fiona. We will get that over to you soon. Next up, we have Summer Dowd, VP of Product Marketing. Summer is the VP at Attentive with 17 plus years of experience driving go-to-market strategy, product messaging, and customer acquisition across marketing and commerce tech platforms. She's worked side by side on the brand side at Walmart and led the launch of high-impact marketing products for some of the world's biggest brands and retailers. Welcome, Summer. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Well, great to be here. As Joe said, I'm Summer Dowd, VP of Product Marketing at Attentive. I'm based in Austin, Texas. Do we have any other Austinites here in the chat? Let's represent. And I'm going to share a little bit today about what our customers really want. And spoiler alert, it's not a secret Labubu. They want an ideal shopping experience. But before we dive in, here's a quick look at who we are. So Attentive is a leading mobile marketing platform, and it helps brands connect with shoppers in a more personalized way using the power of AI. We work with over 8,000 brands like Crate & Barrel, UGG, Gap, a lot of other big brands, and help them grow through revenue through smarter SMS, email, and push campaigns. So our goal is to create thoughtful, tailored experiences that make shopping feel more personal. We're also big on support, and our team is here to help brands not just use the platform, but really understand their customers to stay ahead of what's changing next. And right now, shoppers are feeling really unsure with everything that's going on in the world, and their expectations are really shifting fast. So that's why we put together this report. It's the State of Personalized Marketing report. It gives brands clear steps that they can take to improve the shopping experience and build stronger connections with customers now and in the future. So how we got to this is we surveyed over 3,000 consumers across the US, UK, and Australia to understand what they want from brands and when it comes to shopping and marketing. The biggest takeaway is that brands, they want brands to break through that noise and make things easier for them through personalization. And that's what's really helping them win. They're driving more revenue and building loyalty. And thanks to AI, personalization is not only more accepted by shoppers, but it's also more powerful and easier for marketers than ever before. So if customers really want personalization, that's really ultimately what's getting them to keep coming back. Shoppers are getting used to more tailored experiences. It's not as creepy anymore, and their expectations are only growing. Generic messages just don't cut it anymore, and 81% ignore irrelevant messages, and 1 in 4 say they're less likely to buy because of them. Instead, most people, 71%, actually want brands to learn their shopping habits and use that to make their experience better. Things like remembering their preferences or suggesting products that make sense, picking up where they left off, all of that helps build loyalty. In short, personalization builds stronger relationships, and it lets brands speak to shoppers in more relevant ways, like offering deals to price-conscious customers or rewarding the loyal ones with like special perks or VIP offers, which perform really well on our platform. But we can't talk about personalization without mentioning AI. It's becoming a major way that brands stand out. In short, AI is helping marketers do things that just weren't possible a few years ago unless you had like an army of interns who are creating all these different segments and constantly adjusting. The best part is shoppers actually like it, and that they say that AI powered shopping experiences are helpful. And that jumps to 88% for Gen Z and millennials. So let's take a look at a few real examples on how brands are using AI with Attentive and to create those one-to-one experiences. Oops, went backwards here. So, one sec. So one of our customers, this is a great customer out of Dallas, Cecil and Lou. I have a little toddler, and they're an adorable kidswear brand. And we've learned from a lot of our customers that people like to shop at different times. So some people first thing in the morning, others while relaxing at night. So sending messages at the right time really matters, and that's when Attentive AI can help. So for Cecil and Lou, a lot of their customers are busy toddler parents, and timing is everything. So they didn't want to, just blast everybody at the same time. So they tried out Send Time AI, which is part of our AI Pro tools. And it figures out when each subscriber is most likely to engage based on their past behavior. And then it sends that message right at the right time. And it worked big time. They saw a 22% jump in click-throughs and 54% boost in revenue. So it turns out reaching people when they're actually ready to shop makes a huge difference. Shocking. So this is an example from SMS, but good news, this is also available for our email product. SendTime AI is now live on our email as well. And Neiman's another great customer, and we have a gift card coming for somebody from Neiman as well. And this is a great example of how AI can take personalization to the next level and create true one-to-one messaging. So Neiman started using our AI Journeys product because they wanted to move away from generic messages, but they didn't have the resources to create these custom messages at scale. They obviously have quite a few subscribers. And so as a luxury brand, that personal touch really matters to them as well. And so with AI Journeys, they were able to use each shopper's behaviors and preferences to send super relevant, super personalized messages at scale. So everything from the tone to the content, even emojis if it matched the vibe. So the result, 81% increase in revenue per customer and a stronger engagement overall. So just like perfect timing, this kind of truly personalized messaging is only possible thanks to AI. And with 77% of shoppers saying they value AI-powered experiences, now is the time for marketers to lean in and start testing. So to wrap things up, these are just a few of the highlights in our report. There's a lot of really good information in there, and the full report has a lot of insights and brand stories that we think you'll find really helpful, especially in this really ever-evolving landscape right now. So if you're curious to learn more, go ahead and scan the QR code and check out the full report. Thanks so much.
There we are. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Summer. That was incredibly insightful. Again, I learned something, and actually that's pretty cool because Attentive is one of the partners that I've worked most closely with over the last year. You've got a great team there, great products, and yeah, it's really cool to see how you guys are expanding those well-timed outreach messages. Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, so we are going at breakneck speed here. We have, of course, a winner from Summer's session there, and that is going to be a $75 Neiman Marcus gift card to Clay Kennedy. Clay, congratulations. Awesome. All right. And so onwards we go to our next presenter, Jeremiah Prumer, CEO of Stamped.
Yeah,
Is the founder of No Commerce, current CEO of Stamped, repeat, and like I said, No Commerce. He's been selling online for almost 15 years, so a true OG. Jeremiah, we are very happy to have you here and looking forward to sharing or hearing your wisdom.
thanks, Joe. Let's see here. I'll pull up my slide deck real quick. Can we see this? Joe, are you able to see it?
Yes, sir. All good.
All right, perfect. So I want to talk about listening today. And before I do, I'll just get into a little bit. Joe gave a little bit of a highlight, but yeah, I am founder of No Commerce. We started that in 2020. I co-founded that essentially. And then ultimately, we actually sold that business to a holding company in 2022, which had acquired Stamped and Repeat. Stamped is a reviews platform. Repeat is really focused on identifying the right moment for something to happen and really driving a lot of behavior through that. And so earlier this year, I actually took over all three entities. So I run No, I run Stamped, I run Repeat. And we're really looking at how all of this fits together. And I'm telling you this because this is going to fit really well into what I'm showing you here in a moment. Yeah, I've been selling online for almost 15 years, building in open source ecom tech, had my own brand as well for a while, building in the Shopify ecosystem. So all over the place, doing a lot of different things. I got 3 kids. And yeah, if you want to find me on LinkedIn, you can scan that QR code. Would love to connect with you. So I'm going to dive in a little bit. I think one of the key things when I hear discussion around AI, there's really kind of 2 different ways that people look at AI. One is looking at AI in order to replace humans. The other is looking at AI in order to enhance humanity. And I think this conversation has very much been focused around the latter. How do we enhance our role as humans? And I am very much bought into that idea. I love that idea. There is a world in which AI takes over the world and we're all just, servants to the AI overlords. I don't really want that world, to be honest. I think some people do, but that's not really what I want. If it happens, it happens. In the meantime, I'm going to do my best to help AI make us as humans more effective. Like creating this image that I would never be able to create on my own. It's actually not that great. But anyway, just as an example, threw this into ChatGPT and got something that I could add to this slide deck pretty quickly. That kind of power and ability is really fun and really cool. So when we talk about being human, I think I want to kind of talk about this idea of listening, because there's, in my mind, not a whole lot more human than communication, and a really important piece of communication is listening. And I think that's what AI can really help us with, is taking a lot of the noise that exists in the space and turning that noise into something we can actually hear. And so that's what I'm going to dive into. So again, I look at AI as not a replacement for humans, but I do think it can actually help us better listen to our customers. So these are just some examples of the kinds of things we're listening for at Stamped. We're listening for when somebody might be ready to opt into a subscription. We're listening to when somebody might be ready to take a post-purchase survey, or to submit a review, or join a loyalty program, or buy into this upsell. So that's kind of what we're looking at with these signals that we can actually, I consider them listening, because we're actually looking at the information that we're pulling in and we're trying to do something with it. We're not just receiving noise, we're actually receiving communication from the customer that we're turning into action. So I just kind of have this question, like, are we actually listening? So we collect all this data, and then what do we do with it? And I think one of the things that's been great about this call is hearing all the great examples of how people are actually listening. So Triple Whale, for example, does a really good job of helping with the listening aspect. Joe and the Soar With Us team, I love Joe. We've been working together in some capacity for a long time. But what he's doing with Sarah Levenger and just looking at how do we actually take all this information and synthesize it into something for action. And even just that like really cool example of the data inputs that they're receiving and processing with AI, that is listening. So that's actually taking all of this noise and turning it into something that's actionable. Or even, Attentive, talking about how Attentive is using AI to actually find the right moment to send somebody something. That's listening, right? So that's taking data, turning it into something actionable. So I would say that data at scale is mostly noise. We have lots of different data signals. So we have hard data, which is behavioral and transactional signals. So purchase history information. What products did you buy? When did you buy it? How many did you buy? What was your average order value? All those kinds of things. cart abandonment, the products that have been viewed, loyalty activity, all those kinds of things are behavioral signals, something that somebody is actually doing. And that is actually a piece of listening. Somebody is not explicitly telling you something, but they are giving you information just by the very fact that they're interacting with your brand. And the second piece of this is that soft data, the conversational sort of feedback. That's reviews, that's survey responses, that's customer support tickets, social DMs, things like return forms, all that kind of stuff gives you other data that you can actually look at, and you can listen to that data as well. But the reality is, for most of us, data at scale is noise. And I will say, like, in my own business, it's like the ultimate data business, right? We see millions and millions of data points on a daily basis. And it's mostly noise to us. And we have to be very thoughtful about how we actually dive in and listen and help brands listen. So again, this, I've already kind of touched on this, but listening really is turning noise into action. So it's figuring out how can you take all of these pieces of data and just do something with them. So if you are a D2C brand, again, going back to what we were talking about here a moment ago with the types of data, you have so much data that you're looking at. You have so many pieces of information that you're pulling in, but to actually take action on that is really challenging. AI is making that a lot easier. And also your software partners that you're working with should be helping with that as well. And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do always, is how do we take this listening, turn it into action? We're going to look at, like, how can we send better messaging? How can the timing be better? How can we make sure we're getting the right message in front of the right person at the right moment? Because we've listened based on all of this information that they've given us. So I just wanted to kind of touch on a few practical ways to think about listening. And this is going to be kind of the meat of this, to be honest. So the first part is just make sure you're using tools that help you collect more signal. So Triple Whale, for example, the dashboard that you can get for free at Triple Whale, that is a great way to get some really good signal. You're going to be able to see a better view of what's happening within the context of your business. All of that noise can be synthesized in a way that actually makes it more like listening to your customers. So making sure you're using tools like that. Look at surveys, look at reviews, look at quizzes, customer support tickets, all of that. Make sure you're collecting all that data and actually putting it into a place where it can be used. So again, something like Triple Whale can be helpful in that regard. I know a lot of bigger brands are pulling data into things like Snowflake and using different data tools, so Looker or whatever it is, to help analyze that data. That can be fairly expensive. But however you can, just kind of be thinking about the idea of pulling in more signal, because ultimately that signal, that noise, you synthesize that, and that ends up being the listening. Have a plan for what you're collecting as much as possible. Some things you're just going to collect automatically, that's fine. But if you're asking a question in particular of your customers, make sure you have an intended use for that information. Another kind of tip here is focus on data that can be interpreted in context. So NPS or CSAT, like as customer experience metrics, those can be interpreted in context. There are thousands, if not millions, of brands collecting that kind of data. And so if you can understand your scores, there is context that can be put in, and you can actually see how your brand fits into that broader context. In the context of something like, we have, how did you first hear about us? And a bunch of other questions that we're asking across thousands of brands, millions of responses on a monthly basis. And so we can actually help you contextualize that data as well. Looking at things like economic sentiment, all that kind of stuff. So focus on, if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what to do, focus on the data that can be interpreted in context, and we can actually contextualize how that looks in your business. If you don't have a specific plan, but you think something can be useful, you can still collect some of that. Synthesizing this data, listening to this, is getting easier and easier every day. AI is really opening up a ton of opportunity there. So that's one tip that I would have, is just really, don't be afraid to still collect that data, especially if customers are willing to give it to you. And then have a plan for taking action as much as possible. So If you know that you're going to be getting bad NPS or poor reviews, figure out how to automate that as a support ticket in Gorgeous. If you are seeing trends and shift in your how did you hear about us or how did you first hear about us question, that should actually result in shifting your ad spend. If you're seeing demographic insights that are different than what you expect, that should change your ad creative and your targeting. So again, take all of these things and have a plan for what you're going to do with this data. That plan is listening. And then just real quick with Stamped, like this is actually our big focus, to be honest, in the coming months and years. We're actually reorienting the entire business around essentially what I would summarize as this idea of listening. And that means that we're doing this for brands. So we're looking at structuring data for industry context. We're looking at collecting better reviews at better moments in time so that we're actually getting that information and then telling you what that means and helping you use that information for your customers. And we're trying to do it all with timing. So getting that right touch point in front of the right customer at the right moment. So yeah, I'm not going to really spend a ton of time on this. I'm kind of at time here. But if anybody is interested in what we're doing and how Stamped, the product of Stamped, and then also Know on our side is helping with listening, you can hop on our wait list here. We're actually the new product that we're launching here on the Stamp side. The first 250 brands to apply for our wait list will get 50% off their first year. So we just opened this up a few days ago, actually. So good timing on that. But yeah, 50% off. And I believe that's all I've got today.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Wow. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I think it's really cool just realizing that like in today's day and age, what 15 years ago would have been like a golden ticket to separate yourself from like the group or your competitors. Now, you can have 15 of those golden tickets just from the insights that data allows you to have. And these tools that we've heard about today allow you to put those into practice. And I would encourage everyone to, step outside your comfort zone, learn a little bit more about these products, reach out, have real conversations with real salespeople at the various companies you've heard from today, and get that expert advice. And so with that, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and participate today. The chat was incredible. There was a lot of experts in there sharing some pretty cool tidbits of information. We will be sharing the recording and following up with those of you who asked questions and didn't get answers quite yet. But again, thank you everyone so much, and have a good rest of your Monday.